Now let's learn how to edit a PCM synth tone inside the Integra-7. First, let's take a look at a PCM synth tone. Let's hit Part View. Now let's find a nice PCM synth tone. Once we've chosen our PCM synth tone, let's press the Edit button. As you can see, there are a lot of different options to look at within the PCM synth tone. So let's take a look at that now. First, let's discuss how the PCM synth tone is structured. So if we take a look, we have our waveform, and then comes in the time variant filter, and then comes in the time variant amplifier. These are the equivalents to oscillator, filter, and amplifier in the synth side. You'll also notice that each one of these gets its own LFO1 and LFO2. So this gives us a lot of different options when we're creating sound in here. You also know that each one has their own envelope. Wave gets its own pitch envelope, the time variant filter gets its own envelope, and the time variant amplifier also gets its own envelope. And you notice everything can also run into a step LFO. And we can actually stack up to 4 PCM tones. So there's a lot of power here. And after we stack up those 4 partials, we can run them all into the master effects. So let's take a look at editing them now. So if we look at the top tab, we see that we have wave, partial mix table. These are the settings for how partials are combined and for key range. So that's what that's for. Next, let's go over to the next tab, and this is pitch. And these are all the settings related to pitch. So if we cursor down, we can see we can adjust the coarse tuning, fine tuning, the key following, pitch bend range up, pitch bend range down. Let's go back. And now we see we get to the first of the 3 envelopes. We have a nice pitch envelope right here. So we can adjust all these. Now let's cursor up and take a look at the next. The time variant filter. We can choose what type of filter we're going to use. So if I press the enter button, it'll pop open, and we see we have all of our different filter types right here. We can choose whatever we want. And let's enter that. And you see here's our cutoff, and then our resonance. And then our key follow, and then our curve. And next we see we have our cutoff velocity curve and velocity sensitivity of it, the resonance velocity sensitivity. So a lot of options just in that screen alone. Let's go to the next tab. In this screen, the time variant filter envelope, you see we can get a little bit deeper inside programming that filter and how it responds to us. Cursor over to the right one more. Here's where we have our time variant amplifier right here. This is how we determine how that particular tone, it's its level, and also with the velocity curve and the velocity sensitivity right here. Now we can go over to time velocity amplifier right there. Now we can choose the output. How loud do we want that particular waveform to be? So we can adjust that. We can adjust the chorus send, chorus reverb. Next, let's go to the first of ultimately 3 LFOs. This is the first LFO1. And remember, when we talk about LFO, if we break it down, it means low frequency oscillator. So to me, to break it down in the most easiest term, it's basically like a vibrato. So think of it like that. We press the enter button once the waveform is selected. We can choose what type of LFO waveform to choose for that particular waveform. Rate the detuning. Now let's cursor back up. And there you'll see we have LFO number 2, which once again, we can choose another waveform for that particular wave, or the same with a little bit different settings. And now we'll go up to the step LFO. Now let's cursor over to the matrix control. Now in this setting, we can tell the Integra what type of effects or controls to set on the different controllers that are available to you. So this gets a little bit crazy right here, but you'll get the idea. You get a lot of different controls in here, and there's actually 4 of these. Next, we go into the master effects. Now, all of the waveforms that we use inside this PCM are going to be routed to this particular master effects. Now, remember, there are 4 partials in here. And if we look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 partials right in here. And there we get also again, and now we get the master effects control. So we can tell it where we want it to go what do we want it to do. Right there. So as you can see, inside the PCM Synth tones, there's a lot of flexibility. Now, if we talk about the waveforms within these guys, just to make up that one sound, there are a lot of options. So let's take a look at some of the different waveforms in here. So if I come into here, let's choose this one. Let's press the enter button. Look at all the different waveforms. There's so many waveforms in here. So you can take these little pieces of sound and create some really awesome tones inside your Integra-7. So really have fun with this and really just try and have fun and use it to its full potential. Because remember, each specific PCM synth tone gets 4 partials in here. And each partial has its own wave, time variant filter, and time variant amplifier, as well as 2 LFOs and a step LFO.